Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially day number 38 of the ongoing government shutdown, and I'll tell you what, now, not only is President Trump fighting against the radically progressive Democrats, but also he's fighting against the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, in the Senate as well. And so, folks, I'll be honest here for a moment. I never thought that I would actually have to make a video like this, but at this point, the situation is dire enough that I think all of us need to get directly involved. The fact of the matter is, President Trump needs our help right now in order to save the country, and so let the record show today's video is a direct call to action. Now, as many of you know, the Republicans currently have 53 seats in the Senate, but as things currently stand, only 9 of those Senate Republicans are willing to listen to President Trump and actually move along with nuking the filibuster. What that means is that right now, 44 out of the 53 Republicans in the Senate think that they know better than President Trump, that they know better than all of us Americans that overwhelmingly voted for President Trump, and that they're willing to impede and undermine President Trump's America First agenda. And so that is why President Trump just sent out this message late last night. Take a look.
Remember, Republicans, regardless of the Schumer shutdown, the Democrats will terminate the filibuster the first chance they get. They will pack the Supreme Court of the United States, pick up 2 states, that's a lot of states, and add at least 8 electoral votes. Their 2 objectors are gone. Remember, Sinema and Manchin, they're gone. Don't be weak. Don't be stupid, Republicans. Fight, fight, fight. Win, win, win. We will immediately end the extortionist shutdown, get all of our agenda passed, and make life so good for Americans that these deranged Democrat politicians will never again have the chance to destroy America. They tried to destroy your country. Republicans, you will rue the day that you didn't terminate the filibuster. Be tough, be smart, and win. This is much bigger than the shutdown. This is the survival of our country. Terminate the filibuster, and let's live the great life that this country is capable of living.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, not only is President Trump correct about all of that, but also very clearly what he's trying to do right now is create a massive public pressure campaign to get all of these Senate Republicans to fall back in line. In fact, over the last couple of days, President Trump has made post after post after post blasting the Senate GOP and trying to let all of us America First voters know exactly what's going on right now. And to be very clear, what's going on right now is that many of these Senate Republicans, these rhinos, are refusing to actually put America first. But you know what? What do you say we take a little bit of a closer look at what's really going on here? Check it out.
I'm sure you were at the Republican breakfast with President Trump. All right, he wants to end the filibuster, okay? And he's, campaigning on it, talking about it, tweeting on it. He talked to you all at the breakfast meeting. What does Senator Ted Cruz think about this?
Look, the votes are not there to end the filibuster. It is not every president of our lifetime has wanted to end the filibuster, because if you want to move legislation through, the filibuster necessarily slows things down. I can tell you that when Joe Biden was in the White House and Democrats had the House and Senate, it is only the filibuster that stopped us from absolute devastation.
Now, folks, technically that is true, but also there's some very important context here that Senator Ted Cruz conveniently neglected to mention. When Joe Biden was in the White House and the Democrats had control of the House and the Senate, they actually desperately attempted to nuke the filibuster, but they ultimately failed because, thank God, 2 Democrat senators, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, both got in the way and voted against it. And so, do you all want to know what the Democrats did to those 2 Democrat senators because they refused to go along with the party plan of nuking the filibuster and subsequently destroying the country? Well, they primaried them out and attempted to replace both of them with 2 brand new Democrat senators who were even more radically progressive. That is what they did. So once again, to be very clear about all of this, the dynamic has fundamentally changed, and we know for a fact that the next time the Democrats regain control of Washington, D.C., they are going to start dropping nukes left and right in an effort to completely destroy this country. And to be very clear, what they plan on doing is nuking the filibuster, packing the Supreme Court with God knows how many brand new Supreme Court justices, opening up the southern border and making Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. both states so that they can have more votes in the House and the Senate. And of course, if the Democrats get away with all of that, this country is game over. But now there's actually another no-vote Republican senator that I want you all to take a listen to, but first, I do want to say real quick that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out.
Senator, do you agree with President Trump that given what's at stake for the country, that it's time for Republicans to consider dumping out of the filibuster rule because the Democrats are obviously going to dump out of it themselves the next chance they get and run the table,
well,
regardless of what Republicans do?
No, I don't agree with him. I'm not ready to get rid of the filibuster or the blue slip. I don't know what the Senate in the next Congress is going to look like. I think Republicans will hold the Senate. I think what President Trump is really frustrated about is the fact that the Senate's not doing anything, and he's right. We haven't done anything. We passed the one big beautiful bill, which we would not have been able to do without the president's involvement. And since then, we've done nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. In fact, we had a meeting. Every time I brought up the idea of doing a second reconciliation bill where we don't need Democrats, our leadership just ignores me. And I don't blame the president for being frustrated. He's frustrated that we're not getting up off our ice cold lazy butts and passing bills that would be part of his agenda. And frankly, I don't blame him for feeling that way.
And so, folks, here's what doesn't make sense to me. Right now, the Senate Republicans know that they're getting nothing done. They know that all of us are dissatisfied with their complete and total lack of accomplishment. They know that the Democrats are going to go nuclear at the first opportunity they get. And they have President Trump, as well as all of us, screaming at them right now to go nuclear. But still, despite all of that, 44 of them are just totally willing to sit on their hands and accomplish absolutely nothing. Folks, can you imagine if George Washington had to rely on the Senate GOP to help him cross the Delaware and liberate this nation? It wouldn't have happened because they'd all be too spineless and petrified to actually do anything. So I'll tell you what the Senate Republicans very clearly need right now is a wake-up call. Take a look.
Republicans need to look at this as a wake-up call that we get on offense, right? We need to be sending stuff over to Senate Democrats. We need to send over, for example, H.R. 2 from the last Congress to codify the border security the president's doing. We ought to send over the SAVE Act again. We ought to pass, for example, the ban on congressional stock trading, which I introduced 4 years ago. Let's stop that, right? These are issues that poll at 80 or 90%. Send it over to the Democrats and make them have to deal with it. So I think we should come back in and go on offense and don't let the Democrats carry the message.
And so, folks, on that note, here's really the main message that I want to get across here. Remember when I said earlier on that today's video was a call to action? That's what this is. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to permanently save this nation, and we could do it right now, right this very moment, if the Senate Republicans would actually rally behind President Trump and put America first. So here's what I want. President Trump very clearly needs our help to make this happen, so I want every single patriotic America First member of this community to call their senators right now, do it today, and let them know that it's time to go nuclear. Because if they don't, frankly, it's going to be too late. We are going to lose this republic if the Senate GOP doesn't get behind President Trump and actually put America first.